Welcome to JoyNews Today. In the next hour, government and independent power producers agree on a $43 million payment monthly, but that will only cover electricity produced and consumed by the state.
Negotiated with them. We've agreed to some monthly payments, and every month about 43 million US dollars shared amongst them for energy supply.
As government awaits the release of the second IMF tranche of $600 million, there are 6 conditions to be met before the money will be released. Also, pupils of Atiga Gome anxiously waiting on government to construct a school block for them in their community 7 months after 8 of their mates lost their lives on the Volta Lake while trying to access education in a neighboring community across the lake. We have details. In politics, all is set for the NPP Super Delegates Congress in the next 24 hours across the country. As the party decides the fate of 10 aspirants tomorrow, we bring you some last-minute preparations towards ensuring a smooth election, as well as touch base with our reporters on the ground. Also, NDC MP demands that EC rescinds its decision to hold voter registration exercise in district offices, insisting the process must be decentralized to polling stations.
The constituency, the only reliable means of transport are boats, canoes, and ferries. To access the district capital, constituents have to travel several kilometers on water and commute by road to Donkokrom.
We have details of these and more, including business, sports, world news, and showbiz. Stay with us. Welcome back. I am Amiesi Thompson. Now, government and independent power producers have agreed on a $43 million monthly payment to address the financial crisis threatening energy security in the country. This is, however, to cover only power generated and consumed by the state, as the government insists it has no money to pay for excess capacity. Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, tells my colleague George Riafi the IPPs have accepted the offer.
I assure you that the threats by IPPs recently to shut down was addressed because they wanted to have a sustainable model of paying for the power they supply.
And that's been done.
We've negotiated with them. We've agreed to some monthly payments. And every month, about 43 million US dollars shared amongst them for energy supply, for energy consumed, let me say, because you know that they have excess capacity. And so we have negotiated with them to pay for energy consumed, which means we are currently not paying for the excess that we do not consume. And that is what amounts to the $43 million shared amongst them. Because of this, we have had to remodel the cash waterfall mechanism. That is categorized into level A payments and level B payments. Level A payments is the payments we make to the IPPs. And as I speak to you, we have paid them twice since we agreed with them. In July, we paid 43 million. ECG has just paid for August $43 million 2-3 days ago. And that is going to continue. We want to be current.
The bigger issue is the debt in the energy sector, which currently stands at $2.3 billion, with the independent power producer owed half of it. Dr. Amin Adam says there is an agreement to restructure the IPP's debt in September.
As of June this year, 2023, the IPP debt is around $1 billion US dollars. And of this, about 340 million is for unutilized capacity as a result of the contract signed by the previous NDC government, take-or-pay contracts, excess capacity, which we didn't need. The $1 billion arrears has about $340 million related to capacity not used. But because of the take or pay obligations, we have an obligation to pay that money. So this 1 billion is what we are seeking to restructure with the IPPs. And as I speak to you, we've done all the analysis. We have various options that we want to put on the table. But even before then, some of the IPPs have sent us proposals for us to consider. So we've looked at those proposals vis-a-vis our own. And then I believe in September, we will start negotiating the restructuring proposals with the view to concluding our negotiation on the IPP areas or debts.
We'll stay a while longer on the Finance Ministry because Ghana is set for a comprehensive review by the International Monetary Fund in September, and if successful, it will lead to the release of another $600 million by the fund. There are 6 conditions that must be met to unlock the funds. Minister of State at the Ministry, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, is hopeful of approval by the IMF after the assessment.
Cool targets.
Yeah, for the first review, next month, I think that we have a number of conditions we have to meet to be successful at the review. They include, I think, 6 quantitative performance criteria, and some of them include zero Bank of Ghana financing of the central government, and as you know that central government has stopped financing the government. The other one is the non-accumulation of external debt payment arrears, and that we are also very successful with that. And then also zero collateralized borrowing. You know, so there are about 6 of them, and I cannot tell you that we are on course. We are meeting all those performance criteria. You also have structural benchmarks, about 3 structural benchmarks that will be reviewed, and these include the development and publication of areas, an areas clearance plan. We are good with that. The development and publication of an updated energy sector recovery plan. We are good with that. And then also the financial sector strategy, stability strategy, which we have also done. And so as far as the structural benchmarks are concerned, we are fine. We also have the indicative targets, you know, and one that I want to mention is the non-accumulation of areas in the energy sector. You know, so, and also how much we should spend on social interventions. We are meeting all those, and so I can tell you that Ghana is ready for the next review, the first review, and we are very confident about succeeding with the review.
In less than 24 hours, the presidential aspiration of 5 hopefuls in the NPP race will come to an end. A group constituted of super delegates will head to the polls to elect 5 out of the 10 aspirants for the main Congress in November. 955 delegates are expected to cast their ballots in 17 voting centers across the country, with the EC entrusted the responsibility to conduct the elections. Aspirants have only close of today to wrap up their campaigns, as the party bans any form of campaigning or congress tomorrow. But political governance expert with CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, says delegates should consider electing a candidate that has the competence of breaking the 8 for the NPP.
Okay. In terms of what the super delegates would have on their mind, but even beyond the super delegates, I think the key thing for the NPP Electoral College, as they figure out who should be their flag bearer for the 2024 election, will definitely be, as I've mentioned, I'm sure the primary thing on their mind is breaking the 8, right? So if they look at all the 10 candidates, who do they think has the best chance of allowing them, to break the 8, will definitely be, I think, the thing that, or at least in my opinion, I think that is what is going to drive the dynamics, of this race. Who can they their bets on to allow them, to break the 8. But again, intra-party democracy is such that you never know what other dynamics or thinking, may be going in the minds of delegates and what they might do to torpedo this race. I have regularly said, and I don't have the benefit of any scientific polls or anything, but I have regularly said that for me, I will be very surprised if Dr. Bawumia doesn't do well tomorrow, pull it off, and doesn't pull it off ultimately in the primary. I've regularly said that. I think he's the establishment's candidate, he's the establishment's preference. Sure, the delegates may or may not do what the establishment wants them to do. They may want to go in a very different direction. But if I were to hedge my bets on any of the candidates pulling it off tomorrow in first position and pulling it off ultimately in November, my bet would be on Dr. Bawumia.
Political marketing expert Professor Kobi Mensah indicates that all the aspirants have gained attention from delegates and can spring a surprise.
This is an internal politics primary, so certainly you would say that almost all of them are connected to the delegates. We have seen a media report and the various, kind of visits that the candidates have made, particularly, Alan Chamanten, Bawumia, for example, and then, of course, you have Kennedy Japan. You've seen, Kwabene Japan also, going around with a lot of media, attention, a lot of reports on there. You've seen Boate Jako. So pretty much almost all of them, of course, the agri minister had been seen, connecting with, the delegates. So from the perspective of, say that personal selling, i.e. meeting the delegates, they have, pretty much, done that. Of course, in marketing, there are other things that you want to talk about, apart from the idea that they are meeting the people. You're also talking about the brand's own equity, the kind of things that they say that, kind of go a long way to benefit them or their position. So for me, I think that in terms of they putting themselves forward, almost, all the major, candidates have done that from the evidences that we've seen in the media, the engagement with the people. So if you want to, take that one as the marketing, then certainly they have. But of course, in terms of marketing, we're also looking at, how targeted they are. Of course, you've got to segment and target your market with particular messages, and with particular, sort of attention.
Political scientist Dr. Amwakuba is, however, alleging machinations by some bigwigs in the NPP to favor their preferred candidates.
The real agenda is not. For some people, it is not to just eliminate some. For some people, they have a different agenda. They want to look at the percentage of win, the margin of victory, and from that, they come in with the main agenda. I'm talking about Bawumia's camp.
Okay.
And it came out about 2 days ago. What Ofeche Bonsu was saying, we all know he's a Bawumia supporter. He said it before. Now he says, if any candidate gets more than 70%, it will be wise for the party to throw their support behind such a candidate and make him on the pay. That is the agenda for them. So if you see they are working very hard, that's what it is.
Will that agenda happen? Is it something that could possibly happen?
Oh, it's entirely possible. That's why they fought against concentration in one area. That's why they agreed to holding the election nationwide.
Well, the Bono East Regional Secretary of the NPP, David Boakye, has said that all arrangements capable of ensuring the party's conference aimed at reducing the number of the party's presidential aspirants from 10 to 5 is held smoothly. He said a total of 35 delegates are expected to cast their ballots on Saturday at the Kokroko Social Center in Techiman, and Nasabit has more.
The fierce race to decide who leads the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 presidential elections enters the home stretch as the party holds its Superdelegates Conference on Saturday to reduce the number of aspirants from 10 to 5. Here in the Bono East region, a total of 35 delegates are expected to cast their ballots at the Kokroko Social Center in Bamri, a suburb of Techiman. Regional Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, David Boachi, says all arrangements are set to ensure the exercise is held peacefully.
Bono East has 34 delegates, but 35 people are going to vote in the region because we have had one transfer. That somebody has transferred the votes. In all, nationwide, we have 7 transfers. Ashanti had the highest of 3, and 4 other regions having 1-1 each. Bono East has 1. We do not have a proxy votes, but we have 1 transfer. So in all, we will be 35 people voting at Kokroko Social Center, Bamri, that is Techiman. National Council took a decision that all the elections must be held at the regional capitals. So ours is being held in Techiman here, Bamri Social Center. All arrangements are set. All our delegates so far are available.
He noted that the party is solely relying on the Ghana Police Service for security and no internal party security will be entertained.
Let me say this. We don't have arrangement for any internal security there. Completely, everything is for the police to take over. We are only 34. And the one person joining us to make us 35. I don't think any of us, because if you look at the category of delegates, all the 17 regional officers, 11 constituency chairmen, 3 members of parliament, 1 surviving founding father, 1 national council rep, and the regional minister. So we don't see anything so special that will make us need a security that will be out of control.
He again appealed to the delegates to abide by the laid-down rules and regulations governing the polls to ensure that the processes is held smoothly.
I'm just pleading with the party people that when you get there and you are not a delegate, even if you are a delegate, we have to go by the instructions of the security. As I said, tomorrow we are going there to know how they are going to set up. So we'll know the level where supporters will reach, the level of media, then where the delegates can go.
Those expected to cast their ballots on Saturday include members of the National Council and National and Regional Executive Committees, members of Parliament, and 3 representatives from each of the special organs of the party, that is the youth, women, and Nasara. The rest are national officers, 3 representatives from each branch, founding members during the registration of the party at the Electoral Commission, and all card-bearing ministers. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Well, here at Joy Nation headquarters, we are ready to give you comprehensive coverage of the Super Delegates Conference. Head of our Joy News political desk, Evan Spencer, tell us how this will go on with Kojo Brace on the AM show.
Who have been studying the field are looking beyond the Saturday. That is, if you are confident of winning, you're looking beyond Saturday. So tomorrow shouldn't be such a big deal. And that is why it's only just 900 people out of the 200,000 of the delegates who are going to cast their ballots is Special Electoral College. So you don't expect tomorrow to be as acrimonious as what we'll possibly see after the fight has been whittled out. But for 2 of the candidates, tomorrow can be a big deal in terms of the margin of either topping or coming second. And I'm talking about Dr. Bawumia and Alan Chamanting. For Dr. Bawumia, he wants an overwhelming victory. He wants something north of 70%. If he gets that, he would say that going into November, he obviously has the momentum on his side. for Alan Chamanting, he wants to bring that number down to a level in terms of Bawumia's number. He wants to bring it down into a level where Bawumia will have to start panicking, because among the 900 people voting, and these are the elites of the party, there is a sense that, and we've seen going into this and the complaint that had come, that a significant number of that are people who are lying already to Dr. Bawumia's camp. And we've been reading some of the regional chairmen already declaring, for Bawumia today, the papers, etc. So that is the view, and that is why there's a sense that this must be a very strong showing for Bawumia. If it isn't, there is going to be a problem down the line, because when the 200,000 people now begin to show up and vote in November, it could be. So that's the only reason why it's going to be interesting for the two. So we are starting tonight. We're starting tonight at 8 to 10 p.m. with our Election Eve special. And this is an analysis show. We want to delve into the numbers, look at the trends, and help our audiences understand the entire contest and the field before the day. So when you join us at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, you have a great appreciation of what is about to happen.
NDC MP for Afram Plains North, Betty Crosby-Mensah, is demanding that the Electoral Commission rescinds its decision to hold the upcoming voter registration exercise in its district offices. According to the MP, so many potential voters in her constituency will be disenfranchised. The Afram Plains North constituency is made up of largely island communities, and the MP at a news conference argued the voters may not be able to afford the cost to come all the way to the district office of the EC.
Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, the Afram Plains North constituency has the same geographical configuration as the Afram Plains North district of the Eastern region, and has the largest landmass in the Eastern region with 2,341.3 square kilometers. In all, there are over 575 communities in the constituency, of which 222 are located on the Volta Lake. The constituency has 31 electoral areas and 127 polling stations. Out of this number, 13 electoral areas and 54 polling stations are located on various islands on the Volta Lake. Given the nature of the constituency, the only reliable means of transport are boats, canoes, and ferries. To access the district capital, constituents have to travel several kilometers on water and commute by road to Donkokrom. Constituents who live on Agodeke, for instance, that is in the Dija Island, have to travel by boat for close to 8 to 10 hours to get to the riverbank at Supom or Brejano, and then continue for over 5 kilometers distance by road to the district capital, which is in Donkokro.
Pupils and teachers of Atiga Government Basic School, where 8 pupils died in January this year after a boat they were traveling on capsized on the Volta Lake, are appealing to regional authorities to fulfill promises made after the disaster. The school, with a population of 115 pupils, is currently operating in a church with only 4 teachers handling the 7 classes. They want the government to construct proper classrooms for them to avoid future disasters. Anasabit was in the community and has come through with this report.
8 school children from Atikagome community in the Sini East district of the Borno East region died when a boat which was transporting them to school capsized on the Volta Lake in January this year. They were amongst 12 other survivors who managed to swim to safety. Scores of government officials, including the Director General of the GES and the Borno East Regional Minister, after visiting the area, assured that government will erect a new classroom block in the area as part of efforts to address this calamity. Children in this community have since been asked to stay in the community to study in this church until the said promise is fulfilled. 7 months after these pleasing promises were made, this church here continued to be the structure housing all pupils of the Atikagome Basic School from KG1 to Primary 5. A situation pupils of the school say is affecting teaching and learning. The noise from the other classes disturbs us a lot when we are studying, so we sometimes have to move out to study under the trees. Pupils at the KG level do not have chairs to sit on, so we have to rely on the chairs belonging to the church. And these chairs have been broken, so the church is not happy with the situation. We are praying to government. Nemo Prosper is a teacher and the headmaster of the school. He laments some of the difficulties both teachers and pupils go through in accessing education in the area.
There were challenges, Kakra, and maybe say in this in the classes in the airport.
Our main challenge is the absence of the school.
And then a challenge. After so tables in decks is in the
tables and chairs
lucky
because
because so bad.
Build a new structure for us so that we leave the church to the people.
Na enjoy class church no Emma Pentecost for send na be almost one bet na yisu o ma sorry dan na minister education minister and the Director of Ghana
appeal to stakeholders in the education sector, including philanthropists, to come to their aid to help prevent future disasters as well as aid academic activities of the area.
Having agreed by the ministry that they will put up the 6-unit classroom block, it is our prayer that they will come in to build those classroom blocks so that it will ease the pressure that we are having as a district. And then it will also help promote teaching and learning. And then I want to use this opportunity to appeal to individual philanthropists and NGOs looking at the incident that happened in Atiga Gome community. It's a very sad situation that we need not to allow it to repeat itself. And for that matter, to be able to prevent that, then philanthropists and individuals should also come into the aid of the assembly so that we'll be able to prevent some of these unfortunate events in our district.
Some members of the community described the promises made by regional authorities as empty and appeal for external support. We were promised of a new structure and we are looking forward to promise, but to no avail, and that is worrying. I believe that if we had our own structure, that disaster wouldn't have occurred, so we beg you to come to our aid. The Atikagome Basic School currently has a student population of 115 with no school block and only 4 teachers handling 7 classes from KG1 to Primary 5. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Atikagome.
Ghanaian media personality and philanthropist Oheneyere Gifty Auntie says she's determined to amplify female voices. Over the last 15 years, she's used her platform to champion women's rights, give hope to the vulnerable, and empowered many broken women. She says she's inspired to do more as the Standpoint commemorates 15 years. There's more in this following report.
It's been 15 years of shaping society through advocacy for women's rights, self-actualization and empowerment. It was a dream nurtured on noble aspirations. The Gifty Auntie Bettered Show Standpoint has in the past 15 years been championing and impacting society positively. Today, the pioneers are celebrating the successes to remind Ghanaians of their contribution towards societal growth.
Well, it's been said over and over again. People keep saying, I don't know how I got here, but I know how I got here. It's taking hard work. First of all, it took the obedience. Hearing the message and obeying to take on this challenge of having a women's program that discusses issues, not just celebrating individual women achievements, but issues. Everybody thought I was crazy. In fact, there were many who said that you won't get people to come and share their own stories. But it was amazing when we had prominent women come to share their stories of abuse.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotions Authority, Dr. Efua Asabia Asare, said all must acknowledge and address the barriers hindering women.
The solutions to the pipeline problem are very different from what organizations and women groupings in churches and in our various places of work currently employ. Traditional high potential mentoring and leadership education programs are necessary but not sufficient. In my experience with where I sit, doing research, teaching, consulting, and others reveal 3 additional actions that we can take to improve the chances that women will gain a sense of themselves as capable of leading, be recognized as such, and ultimately succeed and become who they want to become and attain their potential.
The 2011 Nobel Peace Laurel Leman encouraged women to step out into the world to make a difference.
Commitment, a sense of patriotism, and a deep sense of our collective humanity. Commitment is being sold to a cause, regardless of how many accolades you get or how much money you get. We sit in this room to celebrate 15 years of a woman who I've come to know, and we sit and we talk about the struggles of getting funding to do excellent work. But regardless of that struggle, 15 years she stayed on the course. Patriotism, that deep sense of understanding that where I come from, everyone else in this space, as Ghanaians, as Liberians, depending on where you come from, I have to be committed to my people. But then the third one is our collective humanity. I am because of what we all are. There is no way you can take away Ghana from Liberia, Liberia from Nigeria. We all need each other in order to make the world a better place.
Host of That's My Opinion on Joy FM, Nanansa Kwao IV, who is the chief of Akwemu Edumasa, congratulated his wife for her hard work and dedication to achieve her dreams. Standpoint airs on Joy Prime this and every Sunday at 6 p.m. Karen Obin's report read to you.
You're watching Joy News Today. We'll be right back with business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the business segment on Joy News Today with me, Pius Kojobaka. The Association of Ghana Industries says it expects a stable economy to further ensure a reduction in utility tariffs and consequently the cost of operations. Chief Executive Officer of the Association, Seth Chumakwabwa, said although the increase in tariff does not affect industry, the manufacturing subsector is still struggling to break even. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the 12th AGI's Ghana Industries and Quality Awards.
The objective of the AGI Awards is to promote excellence through quality management and services. Seth Chumakwabwa encouraged companies to adopt the standard approach amidst the current economic challenges to their operations and acknowledge the contribution of quality to the national economy and all aspects of corporate management.
We've not had a worsening situation. And what are the parameters? Is the exchange rate? Is the gas prices or oil prices? And then the energy mix between hydro and thermal. And if you look at this, either they've remained same or they have improved. So really, we were not expecting an increment in tariffs for industry, and that's exactly what happened. So PURC has done well, and we welcome the current release. It means that if you go by the automatic adjustment formula, when the parameters have been changed, there's no point in changing the tariffs. If parameters improves, then we should have a reduction in the tariff levels. Of course, if it goes up, then some adjustments will also be tolerated.
Meanwhile, President for the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Amfrenyim Dake, reiterated the association's commitment in engaging government in the development of policies that seek to control the importation of selected strategic products that can be produced in the country.
In this dynamic business landscape, where global markets are interconnected and innovation is the driving force, we recognize the vital role that local production plays. It is not just about creating products, it's about fostering resilience, adhering to the right standards, generating employment, and nurturing the spirit of entrepreneurship within our business communities.
The 12th AGI Ghana Industry and Quality Awards will be under the theme Promoting Local Manufacturing in an Ever-Changing Business Climate.
Now, the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Botwe, has reiterated government's efforts to alleviate poverty through targeted poverty alleviation programs. Mr. Botwe was speaking at a conference organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs in collaboration with the Chinese Embassy on adopting the Chinese poverty alleviation model in tackling poverty eradication.
Despite several efforts to tackle poverty, not much has been achieved since independence. Although several policy initiatives such as the Program for Action to Mitigate the Social Costs of Adjustment, Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, and many more, arguably, they have not yielded the needed results. With the informal sector dominating the economy, targeted policy and infrastructural development will be key to achieving results. Dan Botwe is the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development.
In these discussions, we want to take the China example and say that what was the practice, what were the methods, and when we say people have been eradicated from poverty, is it that now they have something that they are doing with their own hands? They can earn a living sustainably. They don't have to depend on government or other relatives. Then we say they are now out of poverty because they are in some form of employment. Is that what we define alleviation of poverty? So that we can be very practical. We can't have a country where so many programs have been pursued.
Senior scholar at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Professor Alexander Bilson-Darko, blamed the lack of proper implementation and targeted donor support to the growing poverty line.
If we have our nationally crafted poverty reduction strategy, that in itself could attract donor support. We don't need donors to suggest a poverty reduction strategy to us to follow, right? The nation needs to come together to define what poverty is and be able to come out with its own plan of poverty reduction, must have enough resources by itself to pursue it. And if donors see that we're doing a good job and want to contribute to it, that will be a blessing to us. China did it exclusively with some support, but almost exclusively on their own, okay? So it can be done.
Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yaoban, urged government to emulate the Chinese model of poverty alleviation.
Therefore, if we target women, especially those who are single mothers, to support their children, to support themselves, to go to school, eventually those children will lift the whole family out of poverty. So in the long term, within 10 years, 12 years, you see those children you see down there, 5 years playing football, they're already big boys, and they take themselves out of poverty, take their mother out of poverty. So it's important to target. And the Chinese model, which we are here to learn about, is what they call the targeted. And the professor was using the word precision poverty. You need to be precise in poverty alleviation. And so the ability of Ghana to target those who really need, support is very, very key.
The conference, which was organized on the theme, Plotting China's Poverty Alleviation Model in West Africa, was put together by the Institute of Economic Affairs in collaboration with the Chinese Embassy in Ghana.
And that's your business for now. I am Pius Kojo Baka. At 1 p.m., Darryl Kwa will be here with the Marketplace. Sports is next.
Time on for sports on JoyNews Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. Some 3 communities in the Elembele district has been handed 3 different AstroTurfs by IMF Ghana. The facilities are meant to enhance the development of talents within the area. There's more in the following report. The pitches are located within proximity to IMF Ghana's area of influence, which are Etuabo, Ekwe, and Zanzulu Krisan. The AstroTurf pitches were constructed with a focus on social inclusion, fostering positive self-awareness for better health, and nurturing athletic growth to cultivate a fitness-focused and flourishing community. According to the Sustainability, Local Content and External Relations Manager of ENI, Baluri Kasim Bukari, the construction of these facilities are to enhance and support physical education.
Today we are opening 3 AstroTurfs. Basically, these are meant to support with physical education because it's an integral part of education. You cannot have a holistic education without physical education. I will tell you that ENI, Vitol, and GMPC, we have invested so much in education in these communities because we know that education is the key to development and the improvement in people's welfare.
This is the first of its kind in the various communities earmarked by ENI to support with the development of sporting infrastructure to enhance and harness the grooming of young talents. Chief of Bakata, Nana Akaweza III, said his community will make the most of these facilities.
It's a new thing to all of us. Having seen some, ENI has done very well for us because you don't expect this carpet. I found sometimes you will see it from the TV, and if you don't expect, you get it now. So you're going to use it very well. And as you know, all can no play, they can all ball. The young men and women who play on this football motivate them to go into sports and any other activities. Yeah, so it's going to benefit us a lot.
Patrick Osher, a resident of the area, believes the AstroTurfs will be a major contributor to the development of talents in the area.
It is going to help us a lot in various dimensions. When we take education, you know, the school kids over here, just because of lack of these facilities in our area previously, we were finding it difficult to groom those players. And so when we look at sports, we were not having players who represent our area here. But with this edifice, it is going to help us groom or nurture them so that at the national level, we also have players who will be representing this area for us.
The unveiling of the pitches was commemorated with a football match involving school children, community members, and staff of ENI Ghana at the Aguazo Park. The project is part of the $3.4 million infrastructure project, which included the construction of 8 new classroom blocks, 8 combined staff rooms, headmaster and library block, 6 canteen blocks, 10 toilet facilities, and 10 volleyball courts. Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, Mark Addo, has warned that the country risks lagging behind the other countries or their member countries in the continent if investment is not directed towards the right areas of football. According to him, the Ghana Football Association has a vision of making Ghana football a powerhouse in the continent and globally. However, it will require the right investment to be able to compete at the highest level.
What should Ghanaians expect in the next 4 years?
We can only go higher from a standpoint that we want our national teams to be strong. We want to be a powerhouse in Africa and the world. And so a lot of resources will go into developing our coaches and developing our teams to that level. Our local league still needs a lot of help in terms of making a product that people can go and watch like we used to. Our referees we have to strengthen their capability as well, so that the games are officiated fair and clean, in a very professional way. One of the efforts is to continue engagement with government for government support, because we can't do it all. There's a tremendous amount of resources that will require at these levels, especially if we want our national teams to be top in the world. We have to put a lot of resources at all levels, like other countries are doing, and that's the result that you see in Senegal and Morocco and all these places, because they put an amount of resources. And if we don't do it, trust me, you will be sitting here one day and you see countries like Tanzania and all these people, just raising by us because we have not invested in those areas.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next.
And in showbiz this afternoon, I'm taking the position of Becky to bring you the updates in the Chalewote Festival. As you know, it's ongoing and there will be so many activities tomorrow and on Sunday. But we'll bring you highlights of a spectacular act by Ni Hamid Note. He says, life is one eternal circle. The best spirits of the past are returning. Ni Note Hamid explores the African philosophy of reincarnation in this spiritual artwork.
The piece behind me, titled Mr. Kangwe, a Govt teacher in one of our local schools, and then you could see it's not a human as the name presumes. It's basically a fantasy painting. Mr. Kangwe transformation is based on reincarnation. So I'm actually viewing Mr. Kangwe in the different world as a giraffe. And then how Mr. Kangwe was here, and then how he looks here is what I've portrayed in the fantasy picture. The color represents how we are projecting ourselves as Africans, and then how we want to see Africa in the next future.
And do make a date at the Chalewote Festival this weekend. That's how we wrap up here on Joy News Today. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. I am Amiesi Yamiche Thompson.